Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the December meeting of the Wilmot Township Committee of Adjustment. I'd like to read the territorial agreement. We have gathered in Wilmot Township on the traditional territory of the Neutral, the Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee and the Mississauga peoples. We also want to acknowledge the importance of the Dish with the One Spoon Covenant, which is a peace agreement made between Indigenous nations before the Europeans arrived. It characterizes our collective responsibility to each other and to Mother Earth. We should only take what we need, leave enough for others, and keep the dish clean. By acknowledging this covenant and the First Nations, the Métis, and the Inuit peoples, we are reminded of our important connection to this land where we live, learn, and work together as a community. I'd like to introduce the members of our committee. We have Mr. Steve Miller, Mr. Tyler Bowman, and Ms. Christine Kaler. Also with us, we have Mr. Andrew Martin, who is the Manager of Planning for the Township and the Economic Development Officer, as well as the Secretary-Treasurer of this committee. And we have Mr. Miller, who is the planner for the Township and will be introducing our applications this evening. My name is Wayne Rose, by the way. We are an independent body appointed by Wilmot Township Council, and we have the power to make minor changes to existing zoning regulations and to approve some changes to existing non-existing uses and also to give consent. We have the power to make minor changes, and each applicant will be notified in writing of the decision of this committee within 10 days. And with that decision will be instructions on how it can be appealed. Any decision made by this committee can be appealed to the Ontario Land Tribunal, who will then hold a meeting and make a final and binding decision. Only the applicant and certain prescribed agencies can appeal the committee's decision. If the decision on a minor variance or a consent is not appealed, it will become final and binding within 20 days from the date of this meeting. As for the format of the meeting, Mr. Miller will introduce each application. The applicant will then be invited to address committee if they wish to do so. Following that, anyone in the audience can address committee as well to speak for or against the application. Committee members will then have the opportunity to ask questions of the applicant and express concerns, and then the committee will make its decision. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest this evening from members of the committee? Seeing none, we shall move forward. Mr. Miller, would you introduce the first application, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair Oath. The first application is minor variance A13/23 concerning 1416 Snyder's Road East. And so this application is proposing to increase the maximum allowable area of all accessory buildings to allow for a lean-to addition to an existing building. So the current regulations within the Township zoning bylaw limit the maximum area of all accessory buildings to be a percentage of the property area or the size of the house, whichever is less. And so in the event where the house is smaller to the overall size of the property or vice versa, the resulting maximum allowable area may be smaller than what's otherwise suited on a particular property. So the Township zoning bylaw was updated in 2020, and before this, maximum accessory building area was not explicitly regulated in terms of size. And so since this garage that was already constructed predates the changes in the zoning bylaw, it's already larger than what would be permitted currently, but the owner is looking at putting a small lean-to addition onto the property, which would equate to a little bit over 150% of the lot coverage of the home, but it only equates to about 5.6% of the property's lot area. So staff are of the opinion that this is appropriate for this property, and again, it's intended to be used as outdoor seating area, and it doesn't impact any of the area required for a septic system. Circulating the application, staff did not receive any concerns and are recommending that it be approved.
Thank you very much, Mr. Miller. Obviously, I don't see anyone in the audience or anybody virtually, so therefore I'll turn it over to members of committee. Any comments, questions, or concerns? If not, would someone bring forth the motion to approve? Moved by Mr. Bowman, seconded by Ms. Kaler. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? That motion is carried. Thank you. Mr. Miller, would you introduce the next application?
Thank you, Chair Oath. Moving on to consent application B07/23 concerning 16 and 18 Hinks Street in New Hamburg. So this application is proposing to divide ownership of a semi-detached dwelling that's currently under construction. So this property has been subject to previous applications, such as a zone change application and a subsequent consent application, which split off the single detached dwelling from this semi-detached dwelling. This application is simply seeking to divide the remaining semi-detached dwelling in half, essentially, to divide ownership. So there were no comments or concerns received through circulating the application, and staff recommend approval of the consent.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, I do not see anyone in the audience, so we'll turn it over to members of committee. Any comments, questions, and/or concerns? Seeing none, I'd ask someone to bring forth a motion to approve. Moved by Mr. Miller, seconded by Mr. Bowman. Any discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor? That motion is carried. Thank you very much. Two items that we need to deal with. We need to deal with the minutes. So could I have someone bring forward that motion to approve? Moved by Mr. Bowman, seconded by Ms. Kaler. Any discussion? All in favor? That is carried. The other little bit of business that we need to do, I have decided to step down as chairperson of this committee. I've been here since dirt was young, and that's probably long enough, so I would like someone else to take over. We will be electing a new chairperson then at the next meeting. So that'll give you all time to develop your campaign teams, get your fundraising groups in order. I don't believe we will need to have any debates scheduled in the interim, but nonetheless, so that's that. So anyway, I would like to thank members of staff who have always been most helpful, kind and understanding, and that is always a very, very good thing in order for a committee to function effectively. And I know for a fact that that will certainly continue. So with that, I wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and good health in the next coming year. So thank you all.